What you're looking for, you can find it here on the Hope TV. What you're looking for, what you're looking for, you can find it here on the Hope TV. What you're looking for, welcome to the Hope TV. What you're looking for, you can find it here on the Hope TV. What you're looking for.
Lover, don't you want to get down, 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 down? Lover, don't you want to get down, 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 down? Lover, don't you want to get down, 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 down? Lover, don't you want to get down, 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 down?
And I can make you wanna say, I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take a take. I can make you wanna go, never make it out. You've never figured it out. Hello,
Lover, don't you want to get down, 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 down? Lover, don't you want to get down, 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 down?
Set up free, y'all. Set up free, y'all. Set up free, y'all. Yes, I am. Set up free, y'all. Set up free, y'all. Set up free, y'all. Ooh. Yes, I am.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. And this is the day that the Lord has made, and we're here to rejoice and here to be glad in it. Welcome. So glad to have you guys here with us today. Welcome to Hope TV. I'm E. Dewey Smith. I'm one of our chief hope dealers here, and welcome. Glad you've tuned in this morning to get a daily dose of hope. So y'all come on in the room. Come on, call Lottie Dottie, everybody. Y'all come on in. We're here today, and we're here for a live segment of a Deeper Dive, my Deeper Dive podcast, and we're here to go deeper this morning. And I'm excited about that. We made it to the first Friday of the last month of the year. Can you believe it's already December? Lord have mercy. I mean, we're 28 days away from a new year. Can y'all believe that? And I just want you to know today, as you're watching, that no matter what you may be feeling, it may not be your best, or people say things like, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Let me tell you something. Anytime you get up, you got up on the right side of the bed. And so don't see the glass as half empty, see it as half filled. And so welcome to Hope TV. Our aim here is to present entertaining faith and to provide you with a daily dose of hope. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to everybody. And if you tuned in, drop me a line and let me know the city and the state and the country from which you are viewing. We got Fort Valley, Georgia, checking in this morning for a Deeper Dive. Welcome. Glad to have you, team. Appreciate you. Appreciate your support. Drop me a line. Let me know you're on. Y'all come on in the room. Come on in the room. Jesus is my doctor, and he writes out all my prescriptions. Gives me all my medicine in my room. That's old school there. So y'all come on in the room this morning. And I'm so happy and so privileged and so honored that you're part of our community today. It means the world to me. It really, really does. And I'm excited about it. And I thank God for each of you. And we're excited about this. We had a talk with our executive director today of Hope TV this morning. I was just encouraged Good morning, Barbara Crushfield. Blessings to you. Glad to have you. We're just talking that in 8 weeks, we produced over 250 hours of brand new content. Did y'all hear what I just said? In 8 weeks. Now think about this. There are only 1,344 hours in 8 weeks. 1,344 hours that are in 8 weeks. We produced, good morning to you, Darlene Brooks. Good to see you. We produced 250 hours of original content in 8 weeks. So out of 1,344 hours, we produced 250 hours of content. That's almost 20%. It's almost 20%. Uh, it was, yeah, I mean, 26. Yeah. So think about that. Almost 20% of the time of 8 weeks, we had content. Almost 20%. That's massive. And so I'm excited. So welcome, man. I'm excited about that. And you've been a part of our community. So everybody who's tuned in today, whether it's Apple TV, Roku, one of our fastest growing platforms is called Twitch. Welcome to all our Twitch. Good morning, Charlotte from Ohio. Twitch is growing by leaps and bounds. To all the new viewers who've been tuning in through Twitch, welcome. Amazon, Fire TV, welcome. Everybody who's on Facebook, everybody's already checking in from Facebook, from Ohio and Kentucky and Fort Valley, Georgia, welcome. Everybody who's on Facebook, YouTube, of course, our YouTube numbers are growing. Got Tom back with us from Victorville, California. Welcome, Tom. Glad to have you. Welcome back again. I appreciate you and your support and your kind words. So we got Facebook, got YouTube, we have Twitter, Instagram Live, the edewittsmith.org website, and I'm excited about my team that's redoing my website to centralize all our different moving parts of ministry, House of Hope Atlanta, and also HTV Now, the HopeTV.com, which is Hope TV. You can go to Hope TV at any time, the HopeTV.com, and stream all of our platforms. So if you're on Facebook and your Facebook is acting up, or the Twitter or one of the other digital platforms is not properly functioning, you can just go to the HopeTV.com. So we been talking about whether or not to have it in different places, but you never know. Sometimes these platforms shut down, so we have multiple ways. We believe in redundancy. That's a big thing that we use around our ministry. My team hears that word all the time. They get tired of me talking about that. I talk about God, I talk about margin, and I talk about redundancy. Because if you got God, margin, and redundancy, it saves you a whole lot of headaches. So good morning to you, Sean Addison, and good morning to you, Geneva Stirrup from Central Florida. Hope the weather is nicer down there in Florida. It's been chilly here in Georgia for the past couple of weeks. So welcome everybody. I'm so excited to everybody who's tuned in. I'm thankful for all of you. I'm really excited about Deeper Dive today. I got a real good lesson today. We haven't been here a couple of weeks, but I'm excited. Good morning to you, Vida Brooks. Glad to have you. Motivational Ministry of Love. You're exactly right. And I say, our team says all the time, when we have not been able to meet with our people, this is our way of showing our love, trying to have content every day to keep people inspired and keep people motivated. I need you to do me a favor. While you're watching, if you're watching through a platform that will allow you to subscribe, to like, to comment, or to share, won't you be so kind to do that? I mean, every time you subscribe, that helps us to leverage our platform. As I shared with you earlier, my director told me this morning, Brother Benton, that we have produced that out of 8 weeks, that's 1,344 hours. Past 8 weeks, we've created 250 hours of content. Well, our goal is out of 1,344 hours, we want to be able to have content that's 1,344 hours. We want to be a 24-hour network where people can tune in to get entertaining faith and to get a daily dose of hope. And by having a base and followers and subscribers, that helps us to bring other content creators on who deem our platform credible and deem us as worthy of partnership. We want to bring the best and the brightest that ministers to all segments, that speaks to all of our people, no matter about your denominational affiliation, your race, your region or your tribe. We want to have powerful content that's holistic, that empowers people spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Just the practical things of life. You can laugh a little bit, mental health, cooking, shows for children, youth, senior adults, men, women, sports, news, entertainment, worship. We just want to have a programming that covers the entire gamut. And so when you subscribe, that helps us to leverage that. Listen, your likes are important because it helps us to loosen the algorithms, especially on Facebook. Facebook is so tight now. They tightened algorithms, and we lost a lot of viewers. A lot of people have been complaining. They made some changes for whatever reason, and so a lot of places it doesn't get to for some reason. So your likes help to loosen that algorithm so we can get into more homes, and to more people to know about what we're doing. Your comments are so important. Your comments are so important to help us with our algorithms and our engagements. When you give questions, we go back and put those questions for a later date for future programming. And then when we do live sessions like this, that's right, Tasha. Thank you. We do live sessions like this. It's very helpful because it lets me know if I'm being clear, if something needs to be clarified. And it also sometimes you give so much value, and some of your comments are so powerful that you help me to deliver the message, or get a point across. So the comments are important. And last but certainly not least, that share button. Do you know how powerful that share button is? Every time you hit that share button, you really empower us and propel us to the ability to reach people from a massive way. When you tell people about the Hope TV, when you tell them to go and look at the TV guide on Hope TV to see all the programming there, you help us to get the word out. We started this platform in March of 2020. I had the vision on a Sunday, the 15th of March. I shared it with our team on March 16th, which was, I got the vision on Sunday the 15th, shared it with team on March the 16th. That Thursday, we had our first program. That's how fast we were moving, baby. First program was called Pastoring the Pandemic with my good friend, one of my best friends in the whole world, Bishop Sam Blakes. And so March 19th of last year was our first broadcast with Bishop Blakes. And here we are, December 3rd, 2021. It's still going strong. And already we're making plans for season 6. And it's going to be supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. So I am excited, to say the least. And so share that button to let everybody know there's something new and fresh and novel. You won't see this in many places. You won't see even Facebook and all those people say we haven't seen anybody utilize it like this. God does all things well. And I'm excited about that. So subscribe, like, comment, and share. Today is special. Our last month of the year and the first Friday of the year. And I haven't been with you on Deeper Dive as consistent as the past couple of weeks because of travel schedule, and I don't want to pre-record these. I want to do these live. But I'm glad you all here today. I'm glad you are all here today. Between funerals and travel schedules, it's been kind of hard on Friday. And I don't want to pre-record these. I want to make sure that I'm here so we can answer the questions. And so it's December 3rd, and I'm glad to be here live. So y'all tell everybody come in the room, come in the room, come in the room, come in the room. I'm also excited, family, because guess what happened on December 3rd at midnight? As some of you who've been following know, we have launched our record label, and I have been pursuing my lifelong dream of releasing music. I've written so many songs I forgot about them. Lord have mercy. I've forgotten about the songs that I probably won't live long enough to record. But remember, when I tell you, I can write a song, as quick as you could. I've forgotten probably as many songs as I live to write, probably. That's, over the past 30, 40 years. And, writing them for what? But now I am pursuing that dream, and something that my mother encouraged me to do and always thought I should do and wanted me to do, but I was focused on ministry, listening to the wrong people. That's why you better listen to your mama. Your mama always knows best. Mama knows best, especially if you got a good one. But anyway, My mother's with the Lord now, but I decided to pursue this lifelong dream and write some music. And fam, I've got a new Christmas project. Man, can y'all believe I just started releasing music in March and now I got 2 albums? Well, we call them albums. They call them EPs now. And it came out this morning. Woo-hoo-hoo, at midnight. Man, at 12:01, my EP dropped. It's called Let Praises Ring. I've listened and I receive it, Charlotte Wade. I receive it. I receive it. And so think about this. So while my first album that I just dropped in October, it's been the #1 album on the chart. God period. It's been one of the number one. It's been the #1 album for 3-4 weeks on the charts. The current gospel album #1. So I just dropped that in October. We came with this idea about maybe a month ago. Let's do some music for Christmas to raise some money for our nonprofit that helps fight human trafficking. I sat down and wrote a song on the plane, put it together, and here we are, December 3rd, and it's Let Praises Ring. And man, and they're already playing my song. I got 2 songs playing on the radio at the same time. It's unbelievable. I just can't believe it, man. Can y'all believe I'm just so hyped? Oh man, as they said, Christmas, I'm giddy, as the little kids would say. This is unbelievable. So I dropped it. We dropped it this morning through Pebble Street Records. It's on all the digital platforms. Man, it's amazing. It's called Let Praises Ring. And it's available everywhere. And I received that. And so this morning, it's the craziest thing. One radio station played Your Presence is a Gift off the God Period album, which is number 19 on Billboard this week. You heard me, right? So that single, my first single, is number 19. It's in the top 20. It's been there for three months in the top 30, but it's number 19. So somebody played that this morning on the radio, and then same station turned around 30 minutes later and played my single off of this news project called Christmas is About God's Son. I'm just like, how in the world did the song I just write last month and it's playing on the radio the following month? Can y'all tell me? Can somebody help me understand this? Who does that? Can I tell you who does it? God does it. And so I am excited. And so it's Christmas is about God's Son. It's on Let Praises Ring. So I need y'all to go ahead and order this. If you download your music, I need y'all to get it today. If you're on Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, Tidal, how you do your digital. If you do digital music, I need y'all to go and get it. I don't want you to just to download or stream it. I want you to buy it. I need you to buy this pie. I need you to buy it. I need you to buy it. Or if you want to get a CD, a physical CD, because they don't really make CDs anymore, but we're still making them. But you have to get those through our website right now. And you can go to my website. I am tripping. It's thedewismith.org. Why don't you get both of them? Go and get both of them. Both of them. Both of them. BOFFUM. Both. BOFFUM. Both of them. Go ahead and get both of them. I know some of you say both of them. I said both of them. BOFFUM. Get both of them. All right. I'm excited, guys. I really am. Christmas is about God's Son, the song God allowed me to write. And I hope you're going to like it. I really do. I've been listening to it. I just can't believe it. I wish my mother was here to see this. And I sent it to my sister yesterday. She just teared up when she heard it. Well, I sent it to her the other day. She teared up. So y'all check it out. Let me know what you think about it. Let Praises Ring. I need y'all to buy it. And I agree with Charlotte. I believe by faith that when the charts come out the week after next, whenever this chart comes out, I'm gonna be #1. I'm gonna have the top. I want this to be the #1 album too. I want it to be the #1 album, #1 current gospel album. This I do. I want it to be the #1. I want this to be album #2, #1, 2. Then they have a Christmas chart that plays Christmas music. I want this to be on the Christmas chart too. Why not? Because the lesson is, if God gives you a dream, I don't care how old you are, pursue that dream. I don't care how old you are. If God gives you a dream, if that dream is to write a book, if the dream is to write a book, write it. If it's a song, you sing it. If it's a degree, you pursue it. If it's a business, you start it. Oh God! If it's a relationship, receive it. Man, I don't care how long it's taken. Dream deferred is not necessarily, and delayed is not dream denied. So you pursue it. It's taken me 35 years to get to this point. And I'm thankful for your support. So y'all get it. Let Praises Ring. All the proceeds from Let Praises Ring will go to our Tabitha's house. We have two residences that house young girls ages 11 through 16 who've been victimized by human trafficking. And so we do annual fundraisers to raise money because it's very costly to do this. We have two houses where they live. And we've been doing this for several years, and we have not been able to do our fundraisers due to COVID in 2020 and 21. So God gave me this idea. When we do this, I can create some music, and also, you know, you can so we can buy music and support it. So I'm doing what I love, creating music. You know, I'm not looking to make any money off of it because I just want to get the message out there. So we can do that, and you also can support Tabitha's House and get a good message about Christ out there. So I could launch my dream of playwriting this month. That's good, Shanice. Do it. That's what I'm talking about, doggone it. Do the doggone thing. Surround yourself with good people. Get you somebody to be honest with you and help you develop that thing. Ask God to send you a team. That's all I needed the whole time, timing and a team. And I got the right timing and the right team. So you can buy Let Praises Ring. You also can donate to it. And call your radio stations and ask them to play Let Praises Ring. They added some new Christmas music. Tell me, hey, Edward Smith got a new project out for Christmas. Let Praises Ring. So I'm gonna play that, and then when Christmas is over, go back playing God, Your Presence again. Matter of fact, play both of them. Both of them. BOFFUM. I'm gonna play a little bit of. I'm gonna play a little bit at the end before we go out because it's gonna make with the lesson. Hopefully my team can find that. I'm gonna play a little bit for I'm gonna play a little bit for you at the end of this deeper dive. But as y'all can tell, I'm so excited. I can hardly contain it. It would say other song. I'm so excited. I don't know who that was. Donald Summer. Who that was? Anyway, that's how I feel right now. So y'all order and y'all pray for me, and because we don't have but a few weeks to play this because Christmas is 4 weeks away. So y'all call your radio stations and tell them play Let Praises Ring. I got a sermon on there. We got a prayer on there. And I did 2 covers of some Christmas. So I think you're gonna really be blessed by it. It's gonna get you in the Christmas spirit. You know, when you're decorating the house or when you're shopping, putting your headphones and fill your home, fill your automobile with some Christmas cheer. I even got a story that you can play for your kids and your grandkids. So I'm excited about it. So thank y'all so much. Thank you so much. I'm excited. I'm Sherman. I feel like Mama Clump. Yes, I am. I'm excited. Boy, Let Praises Ring. So y'all go get it. And the single on there is called Christmas is About God's Summer. All right, let me get to our deeper dive today. We're still dealing with theology. The last time we talked about proofs for the existence of God. We're talking about the theology of God. And today I'm gonna thank you so much, Tina. I'm so excited. He does all things well. And I just want you to know God has so much in store for you. If you only knew. That's why I want to start preaching. That's why you've been attacked like you've been attacked. That's why the impatience comes. That's why the discouragement comes. Because even the enemy knows just how great and how powerful the things are that God has already fixed for you. Oh my goodness! If you could only see it, it's above and beyond anything that you can ask or imagine, and that's why you got to hang on in there. Because if God said it, God will bring it to pass. And I want to encourage somebody, and that's really what this is about for me. Even my musical journey. I want people to know that if God gave it to you, don't let people label you. Listen. Boxes are for things and not people. Stop letting people label and limit you based upon their expectations or their estimation of you. You're bigger than their opinions. You're bigger than their estimations. Oh, God, listen to me in the name of Jesus. I don't care who you are. God has great things for you. He can put your name in places you never imagined. As a matter of fact, God right now has somebody calling your name in a room that you have not yet entered in. And all you got to do is be ready to walk in it. But you got to pursue that dream. You never could have told me this time last year that I'll have 2 albums out in less than 2 months. You never could have. I released one October 15th and the day December 3rd. You never could have told me this would happen a year ago. You couldn't have told me this would happen 3 months ago. You could have told me this would happen 2 months ago. That I have 2 different songs playing on the radio in the span of 2. Never could have told me that would happen. Never could have told me. Never imagined that. And you never could have told me God would have given me a song on an airplane. And go off the airplane and go to the studio and record. You never could have told me that. But I'm telling you, that's the kind of God we serve. So you follow God and you keep God first, because God is our all and our all. And if he gives you that dream, if he puts something in your spirit, you go for it with the tenacity of a pit bull. And you lock on that thing and trust God. He's going to bring it to pass. All right, let me move on. Now, I don't know who that's for. Praise God. But he that hath an ear, hear what the Spirit is saying. Listen, I'm excited today. I've been focusing on God the last couple of years. Our church theme, we talk about God. We talk about God, period, God kingdom, God's kingdom, God first. And this year's God first. Last year we talked about God's sight. So we've had God, period, God sight, and God first. And now my album is called God, period. Praise God for you, Janice. You keep believing. And I'm excited what we're going to talk about next year. So I've been focusing on God. When my mother passed away, and my sister, and my best friend from college, and my godmother all in a month, it broke me down so much that I had to reconnect with God. And so my focus, I've been trying to focus on God, not myself, not self-improvement or self-help. And so I've just been preaching about God. And a lot of things we talk about may not be exciting, but I think we make God the audience of one. And so I've been dealing with the proofs of the existence of God a couple weeks ago for deeper dive. Today we're keeping the same conversation. We're talking about the theology of God. But in keeping with the season, I want to talk about something, because here's what got my attention. When I was writing this song in the studio, I was having some conversation with some of the people in the studio, and I realized how much sometimes our songs don't teach. Sometimes our songs make people feel, but how often do we learn through music? When I was in seminary, one of my professors, her name was Dr. Melva Costin. She taught me worship, and I never shall forget. This was in 1993 when I was in her class on Christian worship, and she made a point about theology and African Americans. She made a point that I think it was over 70%, I think it was 78%. Listen carefully. Over 78% of the theology of African American people is derived from music. Did you hear what I just said? Melvin Costin said over 70% of the theology of African American people is derived from music. Theology is the study of God. So what that meant is, in effect, is we historically have learned more about God from music than we might learn about God from ministry or the word. Our music shapes our theology about God. But yet, she said, over 80% of the people who create music don't study or read the word. So what happens as a consequence is our theology is shaped by people who don't study themselves. And that's why I love the hymns so much, the richness and the theology of those songs, not just the beautiful lyrics and the chord structure, but the essence and the substance and the message of the songs. And so what happens as a consequence, a lot of what we hear musically may not even be an accurate presentation of what the scriptures teach about God. So if the writer of the song has bad theology, if the writer has bad theology, then the song is going to have bad theology. And so our theology can often be bad because the source of it was bad. If the source is bad, theologically, then of course the root and the fruit is going to be bad. And so I was thinking about that when I was in the studio recording this song. And one of the things that we don't talk a lot about God and about Christmas, that's right, Tina, uh, is this whole idea about God. Today I want to talk about, and it's just apropos with the song and with the season. We're talking today. I want to talk to y'all for deeper dive today from this thought. Uh, Incarnation and Emmanuel. We're dealing with the theology of God. We're dealing with incarnation. 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 Um, it's funny. I chuckle because when I mention that word incarnation as a boy and through time, there are several other words that make me think of this word. One is carnation. My grandmother, she's with the Lord now, bless her heart. She used to buy carnation milk and would try to get us to eat cereal with carnation milk. If anybody knows anybody about, or anybody would try to eat cereal, I don't know, do they still make carnation milk? That was the most disgusting cereal. But that's your grandmama. You can't tell your grandma this is disgusting. I thought about carnation milk. I don't know if have y'all ever had carnation milk with cereal, with cornflakes? It is absolutely disgusting. And my grandmother's with the Lord now, and I hope the Lord tells her that the Lord rebukes her for the terror of trying to make us eat Fruit Loops with carnation milk. So I thought about carnation milk, and the other word that comes to mind that's probably more common than this word is this word reincarnation. More people probably have heard the word reincarnation than they have the word incarnation. Reincarnation is Hindu, uh, maybe probably more Hindu in origin, but it carries the idea of to they do oh Lord, Adrian. So I know you understand. Maybe that's why we didn't get sick, because well, that's another story. But anyway, your grandma did the same thing. But reincarnation carries the idea of when you die in one form, you come back in a lesser form. That's basically just a reincarnation. And many people believe it, to die in one form and come back in a lesser form. So say for instance, many people believe that. So if you die as an elephant, you come back as a gazelle. If you die as a gazelle, you come back as a deer. You're exactly right. That's exactly what it was, Janice. That they made do what they had. It still was disgusting once you had it, but you're exactly right. They made use of what they had. So reincarnation. So if I die as an elephant, I come back as a gazelle. If I die as a gazelle, come back as a doe or a deer. If I die as a deer, if a deer dies, come back as a dog. If a dog dies, come back as a cat, and that's 9 lives. So to die in one form and come back in a lesser form. And this is the reason why in some societies, some ancient societies, even to today, they may not eat a cow, because that cow may be deemed as sacred. And it's like, I can't eat the cow because I'm eating, if I die as a human, I come back as a cow. Well, I can't eat that cow because that could be Uncle Charlie. Or that could be Auntie Jessica. So, and that's reincarnation, to die in one form and come back in a lesser form. So the process of life continues. All life is sacred. It's kind of pantheistic in some ways, that God is in everything. But to die in one form and come back in lesser form. We don't believe that necessarily, that as Christians. We believe we die, we want to be the Lord. But this is a theological belief that some have. Reincarnation, to die in one form, to come back in a lesser form. Okay? And that process continues. Process of life, die, keep coming back in a lesser form. It's funny sometimes, I've seen even with little kids how we say things. Like I've heard people say, you heard this about you see a little child that's very grown. They said that child ain't like that child ain't like my auntie Louise. They've been here before. You heard that before? They've been here before. It's kind of, it reminds you something, of a level of maturity. So not the same thing, but some of those semblances and similarities that the spirit repeats itself in somebody else. So that's kind of what Hinduism or reincarnation, to die in one form and come back in a lesser form. All right, that's reincarnation. But today I don't want to talk about carnation milk or reincarnation. Today I want to talk about incarnation, because incarnation is a very important concept to our faith and also to the Christmas narrative. I want to get with this theology. It was a early church father. His name was Tertullian. So we're talking about the theology of incarnation today. But there's a guy whose name is Tertullian, and Tertullian is a church father who also was African, along with Augustine, and the Archbishop of Hippo, and so many others. But there are several, Tertullian, that's a name I want you to add to your vocabulary, Tertullian. Very important. Some of the doctrines that we hold true to our faith. He was a patristic church father and scholar, and an African scholar. You've seen before himself. So that's Tertullian. And so he has this whole, I want to kind of deal with what he taught. Today we're going to deal with his perspective on incarnation. Incarnation. Now, what I want to do before I get started, I want to give you 3 quick scriptures that deal with incarnation, and then I'm going to share with you what Tertullian's estimation of incarnation. Now, this is not carnation. This is not reincarnation. We're talking about incarnation. Incarnation, and what Tertullian said about it. There are 3 quick passages that many of us who've been in church for a while may have some familiarity with, but they kind of encapsulate. You got it. You got it. Let's spell it patristic. That's P-A-T. You got it right there. Just change that. You always on it. You always be on it, Tina. Just move that P, that E-S, and put that, and move the E-S and add A, and you have it. A patristic. That meant that's an early church father. That's probably the patristic period is probably the 3rd, 4th century A.D. It's from that period, a patristic period. So it's P-A, patristic, patristic. So move that P, move that E-S and add the A. So P-A-T-R, patristic period. So patristic church father. So you get a chance to, and it's also a form of Greek too. Patristic is a form of Greek. Yeah, Koine, patristic, and classical Greek. So that's the language the church father spoke, patristic Greek. Tertullian is one. But let me give you all these 3 scriptures right quick that all kind of encapsulate incarnation. Now, this is what Isaiah said. So the master, this is how the Message Bible puts it. And so the master is going to give you a sign anyway. King James said, this shall be a sign unto you. Watch for this. A girl who is presently a virgin will get pregnant. She'll bear a son and name him Emmanuel. King James put it this way: a virgin shall conceive. Now that passage is loaded. I don't have time to unpack it, because some say he was talking about somebody, a military leader at that time. Others that it was talking about that, but also a reference to Mary. Now this is 700 years before Jesus was ever born. Isaiah prophesied 700 years before Christ was born, right? King James says a virgin shall conceive, all right? And a virgin shall conceive, and she'll bear a son and name him, here it is, Emmanuel, God with us. Emmanuel, God with us. A virgin shall conceive and bear a son and shall name him Emmanuel. All right. Let me give you another one. Praise God, Janice. Here's another one I'm going to give you from Matthew chapter 1. Are y'all with me? Let's go to Matthew chapter 1 right quick. I'm going to give you another one. I'm using the Message translation today. Here's another one. Matthew chapter 1. Here's another one. Look what it says. This would be the prophet's embryonic sermon full term. Watch for this. A virgin will get pregnant and bear a son. They will call his name what? Emmanuel. They will call his name Emmanuel. Hebrew for what? God is with us. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? God with us. Y'all see it? God with us. God with us. I want y'all to make sure y'all got that. All right? God with us. They will call him Emmanuel. I'm going to give you one more right quick. This is John 1:14. And I'm going to put it all together because these are all really incarnation passages. The word became flesh and moved into the neighborhood. Lord have mercy. Woo! That'll preach by itself. We saw the glory with our own eyes, the one-of-a-kind glory, like Father, like Son, generous inside and out, true from start to finish. King James says, and the word became flesh and dwelt among us. We have beheld him, full of grace and truth, the only begotten of the Father. And the word became flesh and blood. Eugene Peterson said, moving to the neighborhood. Lord have mercy. Man, I just got chills. I didn't see that part when I was just rushing to give you that message, Bible. But the word became flesh. So let me put it together for you. Reincarnation, to die in one form and come back in a lesser form. Well, what is incarnation? Incarnation is the idea of God coming to earth in flesh. God coming in flesh, which is really what Christmas is about. That's why it's called Christ Mass. Christ Mass. Christ Mass. Christ Mass. Christ Christmas. Christ masked in flesh. Christ Mass. Christ Mass. Christmas is about incarnation. Emmanuel. God, who's in spirit, being with us. Right? God being with us. Christ Mass. Christmas. God being with us. Emmanuel. Emmanuel. El, when you in Hebrew, whenever you see El means God in Hebrew. Like you got El Shaddai, El Elyon, El, E-L, El Shaddai, El Elyon. I go on and on. Emmanuel, Michel, those Michel, and I can go on and on about just El, Bethel, right? El. So Emmanuel is immanent God. God being immanent. God being Emmanuel. God being immanent. God being among. So the angel said, "You're gonna call him Emmanuel. God's gonna be immanent. God is gonna be among us." That's the gist of incarnation. Incarnation was God being amongst us and the word becoming flesh. That's what incarnation is. I'm going to give you three things about it, and then I'm going to go a little heavy with y'all and let y'all go. Because that's what this season is about. Incarnation. I want you to get that word. Incarnation. Every believer needs to know what that word is. We're going to deeper dive. Incarnation. God, Emmanuel. God being amongst us. All right? Now, so incarnation, number one, is prophetic. It is a prophetic word. That's the first thing I want to tell you about it. It was prophetic. It was prophetic because that's what Isaiah spoke of. It's prophetic. Isaiah spoke of it. Isaiah says, and I read it to you earlier, for unto us a child is born, a son is given. Okay? His name shall be called Wonderful Counselor. Uh, I mean, he said, I'm sorry, that's Isaiah 9:6. This is Isaiah 7:14. A girl who is pregnant will get pregnant and will bear a son and call his name Emmanuel. What we believe here is that this is the same passage that was used in Matthew chapter 1. And so I gave you both of these. Isaiah prophesied, now please get this, 700 years before Jesus was born. He's prophesying about what was going to happen. That a virgin was going to conceive and have a child, a son, and name him Emmanuel. Now in Matthew chapter 1, verse 23, I gave you that scripture too. What the angel says is, this is the fulfillment of that promise. Look at Matthew. This is going to be a sign to you. Watch for this sign. A virgin will get pregnant and bear a son. They will call his name Emmanuel, Hebrew for God with us. What he's saying, what the angel is saying here is, this is the fulfillment of that prophecy that Isaiah made in Isaiah 7:14. Matthew 1:20 through 23 is the fulfillment of that prophecy. Isaiah prophesied it in Isaiah 7:14. The angel Gabriel says, this is the fulfillment. So over 700 years before the birth of Jesus, Isaiah prophesied about it. Have mercy. He prophesied about it. He was coming. That a virgin was going to conceive and is going to have a son and is going to call him Emmanuel. That's when God came with us. That's incarnation. It's prophetic. Now, point 2 right quick. That's the prophetic, but it's also problematic. It's problematic because Tertullian made this point. It's a great point. Incarnation, is it two beings in one person? And that's heavy. So I'm gonna go a little deep. I need y'all to stay with me. So God with us. So that God and Christ, is Christ God in spirit and God in human form merged together? It is a merger. Two metals fused together. I need y'all to stay with me. So did God become Christ? Y'all stay with me here now. Did God merge with Christ to come into the world? Did God merge with the human and come to the world? So now Christ is God in flesh. Is it two different beings in one person? You got it. You got it, Minister Christine Hill. You got it. That's Chris Hill. All right, Minister Chris Hill. So is it God coming and merging with humans, with the human? So is it an amalgam, or what he calls an electrum? Did God fuse with something else? Is it two metals that fuse into one? I want to talk about this because sometimes we don't go this deep with it, but it's pretty heavy. Because I want to make sure and it's a great thought. Is it two beings? Is Jesus Christ two beings in one person? Did God become one person? Did God in spirit fuse with humanity, this human flesh, and become one? That's the problem. So is Jesus Christ really comprised of two beings? Is it one Christ, one person with two natures, two beings? Did two metals fuse together to form one Jesus? Did God fuse with flesh? Is Jesus the fusion of flesh and the Father? So is Jesus a fusion of flesh and the Father? Here's the problem with that. I hope y'all don't rely. Is Jesus the fusion? Think about this. If you took two pieces of metal, right, and put them together and put a torch on them to connect them, you got two metals, right? Put them together. You put fire on them, and now it's one. Is that Jesus? So you took God in spirit, right? This is God. So this is God in spirit, right? And then you took God in spirit and you connected that with flesh, right? Then you put a torch to fuse them. So is Jesus the fusion of God in spirit and human flesh? Is Jesus an amalgam? Is Jesus two pieces of metal fused together? Sometimes we look at it and say, yes, that Jesus is a fusion of God, the Father, and flesh. Here's the challenge with that. I'm going to give you this one challenge and we'll let you go. If you look at Jesus as the fusion of Father and flesh, then we have to deal with my third point, and the final point is the issue of permanence. Permanence. Now I'm gonna let y'all go. I need y'all to stay with me because I know I'm kind of pushing you right here to think about something that's different. Here's the question that Tertullian makes us wrestle with. Was God transformed into flesh, or was God clothed in flesh? Got you thinking. Here is the problem. Here is the problem of thinking that God fused with flesh. Because if this is God in the Old Testament, God in spirit, you put flesh and you fuse them together, right? Once they're fused together, the problem is permanence. What do you mean by that? Permanent. Because the moment you fuse God with flesh and you put the torch on them to make them one, what happened to God before the fusion? Because God before the fusion is spirit only, right? If you fuse flesh with the Father and you burn them together, then what happens to the God that existed before the fusion? If you and I say, here's a great point, if you and I say that God transformed into flesh, fused with flesh, the problem with that is, in order for God to transform into flesh, Tertullian says, that means that involves the destruction of what existed originally. Stay with me. It's heavy. So if God transformed into flesh, what Tertullian says is that means that if he fused with flesh, after the fusion, is he still what he was before? Because if he transformed into flesh, then he's no longer what he was before. Because what that means in Tertullian's estimation, he ceases to be what he was and becomes something else. So did God transform into flesh, or was God clothed in flesh? You see the difference? If God transforms into flesh, that means, in Tertullian's estimation, that God stopped being what he was before the transformation. If God transforms into flesh, then you can't say, I'm the Lord and I change not. For I am the Lord and I change not. If God transforms into something else, that means that God is not permanent. God, this is what the Bible says about Jesus in Hebrews. He's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. God is the God, Revelation says, which was and is to come. The problem with seeing God as transforming in the flesh is at that moment, the moment you say God transforms in the flesh is the same moment that you say once he transformed, he stopped being what he was before the transformation. So some may call that process theology, some stroke. So Tertullian says, I have a problem with God who transforms or is fused with flesh, because if God fused with flesh, then God ceased to be what he was and becomes something else. And do you want a God that has become something else? Can you depend on a God who becomes something else? Because a God who becomes something else is not eternal. Is that God eternal? Or a God who becomes something else and changes his nature, is that God dependable? Now, Alfred Whitehead talked about process, that God is in the God of evolution, and some people believe in process theology. I'm not getting to that right now, but I want to deal with this because does a permanent God transform in the flesh? Because if God transforms in the flesh, that meant that once he fuses with flesh, you can't unbreak the fusion. But if God just puts on flesh, clothes himself in flesh, he's still God, just with flesh on. So Jesus is when God decided to put clothes on, not when Jesus decided to transform into something else. Because the God who transforms into something else suggested the God who was is not enough. Y'all with me? Transformation. In other words, here's what happens. If you decide to transform your living room or your den, I'm gonna do a transformation of my house. Once you transform your house, the house is not what it was before the transformation. I'm gonna tear out some walls. I'm gonna paint, right? Whatever. Once you transform the house into something else, what the house was is not that anymore. You can't transform the house and the house still be the same. When you do renovations on a house, you got to typically tear out what was there in order to transform it. When you see it, it's not the same house. You with me? So Tertullian said the issue of incarnation is the question of permanence. If God transforms in the flesh, then for him that meant that involved the destruction of what was prior to the transformation. What is transformed, if God transforms, that meant that what is transformed stops being what it was and becomes something else. So when Jesus came to earth, that does not mean that God stopped being what God was. Jesus becoming incarnate does not change who God was before the incarnation. So Tertullian says that God does not transform in the flesh. Because if God transforms in the flesh, that means that meant that God had to be deconstructed. And what was there originally no longer exists. So in Tertullian's estimation, Jesus is not God that was transformed. or God that was fused. For Tertullian, Jesus was God putting clothes on, not transforming into anything else, just came to earth with clothes on. And while he came to earth, so God could put clothes on to come to earth, but still be who he was before he put the clothes on. Makes sense? Do you get that? So incarnation involves God not fusing with flesh, because that would have meant, in Tertullian's estimation, that if God fused with flesh, then God would have stopped being what he was before the fusion. Tertullian said, no, God was not fused with flesh, because that meant that what had been couldn't be anymore. Because you can't fuse them, then unfuse them. If you put the metal together and you put the torch to them, they won now. So what you're gonna do is put them together, and then once he dies, no. So Tertullian said, no, God didn't transform in the flesh, because if God transformed in the flesh, then God ceased to be what he was and becomes something else. So in Jesus Christ, it was not God becoming something else. For Tertullian, when Jesus Christ came to earth, he was still God in the beginning. So he maintains who he was before the incarnation, but puts on flesh to come as Redeemer. But coming as a Redeemer does not stop him from being the Creator. Does that make sense to you? So incarnation does not stop God's permanence. God, he said in Malachi 3:6, for I am the Lord and I change not. So if he fuses with flesh, he changes. God doesn't change. That's what Tertullian says. So incarnation, God coming to earth. It's pretty. I like this. It's pretty thoughtful in it. Makes sense. So God didn't transform in the flesh, according to Tertullian. God just put clothes on. That way, by putting clothes on, he still can be what he was before he put the clothes on. So when God put clothes on to come to earth as Jesus, it didn't stop him from being God without clothes. God didn't transform into flesh, according to Tertullian. God just put clothes on. And that's why he's called the incarnate one. Emmanuel, God with us. God came to earth with clothes on. But by coming to earth with clothes on, he didn't transform into something else. He maintains who he was before he put the clothes on. Y'all got that? I hope it makes sense to you. I want to play a little bit of this song because this was a discussion when I wrote the song. People asking me about now. I'm gonna just play the first verse for you because I want you to hear it, because I want you to hear the reference I made to incarnation. Because why did I do that? Because I want you to hear the theology. When I wrote this song, I was like I want theology to be in this song. I want people to hear a term or a term that, wait a minute, we don't use these terms in music. I want people to hear that. When people hear this song, I want them to say, okay, what does that mean? I want them to think about that and get theology as they listen to them. Don't just enjoy the song and it sounds good, but to learn while we're listening. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Incarnate. Thank you, Sean. Can y'all play that song for me? A little bit of that song for me? This is the song I just wrote. Y'all want to play a minute or so of it? Christmas is about God's son. I think it's the first verse.
For love, when Jesus, Christmas time, it's for love. When Jesus came from above, he sacrificed his life for me.
The incarnate one.
The incarnate one came to dwell. He is our Emmanuel. So declare that all is remove sadness and anxiety. His manger proves victory. Oh yeah. If Yuletide seem to be no fun, remember victory has been won. Christmas is about God's Son, and He came from glory to eternity in Bethlehem for you and me. And so the angels sing. They sing to the newborn King. They shout glory all around. Let's pray this ring. He's my counselor. He's the Almighty One. And victory, hey, it's been won. Not about Rudolph, not about Santa, not about the North Pole, but about the one who came to make me whole. I say Christmas, y'all, is about God's Son. So let's celebrate. Our Redeemer is here, Christ the Son. He came in the fullness of time. So let's celebrate.
All right.
Our Redeemer is here.
Yeah. Now you got to hear the end part when we went to church. But you're right, Tasha. The manger proves. I want to get theology and therapy in that song. One line I put in there. So if mistletoe, lights, or tree brings no season's glee, remove sadness and anxiety, His manger proves victory. I want to be theology and therapy. You know, during this time, people can't get in the season. So if mistletoe, lights, or tree brings no season's glee, remove sadness and anxiety, His manger proves victory. If Yuletide seems to be no fun, remember victory has been won. Christmas is about God's Son. That thing blessed me, and He came from glory to eternity in Bethlehem for you and me. The angels sing to the newborn King. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. That's called Christmas About God's Son. That's the single from that project. Y'all get it. Go download it. Tell me what you think about it. I'm so hyped. Can't believe it's already playing on the radio. It just dropped at midnight and it's already playing. And so I want y'all to listen to it because I think a lot. So because what I want y'all to hear when you listen to it, I want you to hear the theology, not just something that make us feel good, but yeah, I see how that's Bible. And I'm trying to make sure that some of the songs that we write, everything that we sing should be biblically based. But some stuff we sing, it just make us feel good or make us get an emotion, but I want it to be biblically based. I think good music should be biblically based. And that song is straight Bible. And you're going to hear it the whole time, from start to finish. As we say, from the rooty to the tooty, it's Bible based. So I thank y'all for your support this morning. Good morning. All right. Good morning, Beatrice Combs. Blessings to you. May God keep and sustain you during this time. Whatever you're dealing with, may God keep and sustain you. Tomorrow we're doing a drive-by for our senior adults. Haven't seen in a moment. They're going to drive by the church at 10. We're going to have some CDs for them. Y'all want to come by. If you're not a CD, if you're not a senior adult, you want to come by and get your CD, come on by tomorrow. We'll be at the church in Atlanta from 10 to 12. Come on by tomorrow. We have some CDs there. I'll be signing them for you tomorrow. If you want to come to worship with us, we'll be worshiping Sunday at 9 in Atlanta, 4650 Flat Shoals Parkway in Decatur, Georgia. And at 11:30, we'll be at West Point. And so you can come by. Try to register, but if you try to register, but if you can't, just come on by. We'll try to make room for you, but try to register. I want you to register. So again, we're going to be in Atlanta at 9:30, at 9, West Point at 11:30. So if y'all come out tomorrow, I want y'all to come by. I'll be under the canopy. Thank you for the seasoned saints. We're going to get them a free gift, but everybody else, y'all want to come by and get your CD, bring the money with you. And come on by and get both of them. Get God period and get Let Praises Ring. And the proceeds from Let Praises Ring will go to our Tabitha's house. Get both of them. BOFFUM. All right, I love y'all. Listen, if you're tired sing to be no fun, remember victory is already won. Christmas is about God's Son, the incarnate one. I love y'all. Have a good day. I'll be back tonight. I'll be back tonight at 11 for Friday Night Live. I'm gonna be live tonight. So y'all call everybody. Y'all want to laugh tonight? I got something good for y'all tonight. I'm coming with some fire tonight for Friday Night Live. I gotta let y'all go, but as always, remember this: if you be good to God, God be good to you. Till next time, peace. He's the incarnate one.
Said I'm free, y'all.